Whether or not you're going to be blasting out emails to a select audience or building email templates to put in nurture sequences and follow-up sequences, you have to begin with an email template. So when you go over here to the Marketing tab, down here below you see the Template Studio. And this is a library of the existing templates that I have, and it's a combination of both the graphical emails that I've created as well as plain text emails that I've created as well. Okay, so whether or not you want to send a plain text email to somebody or a graphical email, basically we're starting with an email template over here. So let's begin the first example of doing a plain text email or a basic email. So I go over here and I click New Template, and now I'm faced with a choice. Do I want to create a basic email or do I want to design an email? In this example, we're going to go ahead and create a basic email. Alright, so this is the template composition screen, and this is where I'm going to be writing a plain text or a regular email. Okay, so it can be rich text, whatever that may be. But this is going to be a personalized email that you would expect to receive from anybody, the kind that you compose all the time. So there's going to be no real sexy graphics in here or anything like that. It's going to be something that you're usually used to just sending as a personal email. So to take a look at this off to the side, I have my email composition screen, which we'll come back to in a minute, but this gives me all the sort of tools I need to compose that message, and I can see I can do some formatting in there as well. And then off to the side, what I have over here is going to be the template setup portion of this particular template. So some of this is very important to know, is that over here the template part at the top is going to be for internal use, and then the sender settings down below is going to be what the contact will actually see when they receive this message. So let's take a look at what we have here, okay? The first thing I want to note is the obvious red stripe across the top that tells me that this template is not ready to send. I can complete this, I can move on to something else, but as long as I check this box down here, if this box is not checked, this email will never be ready to send. So what does that mean? Is that if this is included within a sequence, that sequence will be skipped if that particular, or at least that part of the sequence will be skipped if this email is not ready to send. Okay, so this is for obvious reasons. You can be composing something. Others may be able to see this as well. And then you don't want to have it sent out because you haven't done the spell checking yet, or you haven't checked, the content. You're still working on that, sort of things like that. So, you can start working on something, but don't check this as ready to be sent until it's actually completed and ready to be sent. Okay, that's the best practice. All right, over here, let's start with this, is that basically I'm giving this template a name. So what's the purpose of this template? Above and beyond the name, what's the purpose of the template? Let's just say that we're going to use this template with people who come to us from our website, and we want to automatically engage them with a sequence of emails that asks for follow-up. We want to engage them, set up a time to talk. What were your interests when you came to the website? That sort of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to call this one Step 1, because we're going to build a sequence in another example, and basically we'll use these particular ones. We're going to do 2 steps. Step 1 in this is going to be basically the intro email, and it's going to come from whoever is assigned to that particular lead and opportunity. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Intro email, Step 1. All right. And then basically, I want to put a description here. So the description I want to put here is this email will send to all new website leads. Okay? All right, perfect. I've got that. So to explain this, the description is very helpful, because if other people are looking to build sequences themselves and they have the rights to do that, then basically if they know that one has already existed, a step or some content, they can repurpose that when they want to. Or if you're doing other ones, you can mix and match some of the sequences you've done so you can know what this is all about. This has to do with new website leads. Some people can get more descriptive in this if you want. So very important to, make sure that you understand that you're not the only person that's looking at these. Just, there's other people who may have access to this on the front end. When they're putting people into sequences, they want to know what the steps are involved. Okay, so very important about that. With respect to categories, now this is going to help you along the way determine where these particular messages or where these sequences can actually be used. So you might want to help eliminate much longer lists of browsing through information to shorter lists by categorizing them. So I can basically call this one, I have one here for website leads, okay? So I have a category for website leads. I can use as many categories or as many templates as I want because some of my templates may be used in a variety of different circumstances. So in this particular instance, I'm going to categorize a website leads. If it were a new lead, I would click save. As you're typing too, you can see here that when you do this, you can edit the tags. So if you want to get in here and make some changes and whatnot, you can go ahead and you can change those and then close them up and resave them if they were spelled wrong, or you have multiple categories that have similar meanings, etc. You can make some adjustments there, okay? So down here we have private and public, okay? So when I choose this, private and public, the differences is that when something is public, people can see this in the template library and they can make changes to it. If it's private, they can see it in the library, but they can't make edits to it. And the reason why we do that is we want to show them that a template exists, even though they can't change it, so they don't go ahead and start creating new templates that have the same message. Okay, so they understand that there may be some content that they can repurpose in their own sequences, but at the same time, they don't have the rights to go in there and change some things. All right, so down below, we have the usual suspects that you would expect to see with any email. So in this particular case over here, you have the subject. Okay, and one of the things we added here was the merge field. So basically, you can pull from your database of your contacts and your customers, etc. In that, basically, you can say, personalize the subject heading by saying person's first name. Check this out. And so basically, you can sit there and say, Steve, 3 things you ought to know about sales, or John, 5 tips to closing more business, things like that. You can really write some engaging and personalized subject headings there. And then over here, you have the ability to choose who you want the email to come from. So when you click on this, you can see here that you have a list of your users. You can designate that this email will always come from this particular user. You can also use the contacts owner. So in the case that you have 3 or 4 people who may own contacts within your organization, you happen to broadcast a mass message to all of your customers, it can look like it came from the person who owns that relationship, okay? So that would be, 3 different people in that example could basically be authoring the same email at that time. It'll look like it came from any one of those who own the relationship. And then finally, you can use other. And other allows you to put in any name and any email address. So you might want to put in no reply or customer service or info at your company or sales at your company, whatever the purpose may be. And of course, down below you can see here that you have a spam update score. So you can see what you need to do with some tips to lower that score based on the different things that are going on within that email itself. Okay. So in this case over here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose Kip Dynamite to make this come from somebody. I've got this template checked here, and I have everything I need to complete this and get ready to go. So I'm going to click Save. And now over here what I have is I can go ahead and I can begin to author my email. So a couple things that I have available to me, let's talk about this, is that number 1, I'm going to begin authoring the email by saying hi. And then I can choose from my merge fields and put in the person's first name, comma. And then I can put in the message. So I've got some lorem ipsum text here, just for the sake of that. So I don't have to write anything. I can put that over here. And then what I can also do is I can go into my user account, grab what my company's email signature is, and populate that here like this. And then what I want to do is there may be an opportunity for other people to be using this template, so I want to make sure that all of them don't come from David Waters. So what I'd like to do in this particular instance over here is say this is going to come from the sales rep first name, the sales rep's last name, and then below it's going to say their email address, and of course their phone number. Okay? So now we have some relevant contact information. You can put in some labels there if you want to, like email address, phone number, that sort of thing, etc. But all the information is there down below. So whoever the contact owner in this case is, whoever I'm sending this to, will have the proper information listed down below. And that is now how you create this. So you click Save. When you go back to the list, it'll be at the very top. Plain text email. It's private. Who owns it, when it was last modified, etc. You can go back into the edit here, and it takes you to this. If you want to do some similar actions with this, You can go back and you can duplicate this. You can make it for another reason, repurpose some of the content. Of course, you can delete it if you need to, and you're good to go. So this is the way to make a plain text email in Mothernode.